There we are. Internet. Wow, that was like an 8-second delay. Terrible. Well, today we are looking at page 582. I'm a very sniffly Mr. Waddy. And looking at problem 13, it says find the LCD for each equation. State whether the values, state what value should be excluded as possible solutions, and then solve the equation and check blah, blah, blah. So, for this particular equation, the LCD of all of the denominators, 2, 4, and 1, the LCD would in fact be 4. Alright, so sometimes it's beneficial to write some of these as fractions if they were not originally, where denominators of 1 are good for that. And then they asked about, are there any values that wouldn't work in this equation? And there's no variables in these denominators. So this 2 is always a 2, this 4 is always a 4, this 1 is always a 1. So those are not a concern for me. It's not like they're ever accidentally going to equal 0. So I am not worried about that.
Hello. Headed to the writer's workshop
Field
with Ms.
trips.
Abraham should meet in the art room at this time. Avalon, Bernard, Bowles, Bradley, Cole, Conklin, Crank, Girardi, Hazel, Lambert, Lucier, the Rileys.
Wow.
Corshane, Sanchez, Squire, Sumner, and Willow Holshoe. That's the group on the list. Willow was added. Thank you.
So, now I'm multiplying both sides by the LCD to kill all fractions. The 4 and the 2 partially cancel. 4 divided by 2 is 2 times x plus 2. I'll write it out like this for now. Although you could distribute right then as well. 4 cancels out with a 4, so I'd have minus 3, and 4 and 1 don't cancel, so that's just 4x. And then this is 2x plus 4 minus 3 equals 4x. This isn't a quadratic, so I don't really have to worry about anything, like completing the square or anything like that. So I'm just going to solve by getting the x's by itself. I'll get 1 is equal to 2x. So div 2, and all my 2's are of the z style, so I don't have any bingos here, I don't think. X is equal to a half. And since we didn't have any restricted values, we don't have to worry about that either, do we? Yep. Oh, wow. I just remembered I got a meeting today. Let's see. I also heard students were interested in question 27. By the way, 29 here, this symbol is the empty set. This O with a slash through it. It's also referred to the null set. Yeah, it just means nothing works. Yes. Yeah, it's just, bless you. That's called V-sync errors, vertical sync errors. Sometimes you can turn on or off V-sync in a video game in order to increase your frame rate if that's what matters to you more, things like that. But yeah, if I had faster processing and stuff like that, my computer would be able to run all the different pieces of hardware I'm running simultaneously here. So let's see. Before 27, I guess I'll read the directions. It says solve each equation or inequality. Check your solution. So in order to do this, I'm going to find the LCD of these denominators. It looks like this one I could yoink out an x. I'd like to have them factored because the LCD can more easily be seen that way. So it looks like the LCD is just x times x plus 3. And what the heck, I'll write this. 3 over x times x plus 3 plus x plus 2 over x plus 3 equals 1/x. So I'm going to multiply both sides of the equal sign by the LCD. And when I multiply by this fraction, the x and the x plus 3 cancel out. I'm left with just 3. When I multiply by this fraction, the x plus 3's cancel out, and I'm left with x times x plus 2. And when I multiply that by this fraction, the x's would cancel out, and I'm left with just 1 times x plus 3, or x plus 3. So let's see, this is 3 plus x squared plus 2x equals x plus 3. Now, I recognize this is a quadratic, so I'm going to have to set this equal to 0 and possibly factor or complete the square or blah, blah, blah. Actually, this is going to factor nicely because the 3's cancel out here. So it'll be x squared plus x equals 0. And I can yoink, yoink out an x. Oh, sniffly, sniffly. And then set each of those equal to 0 and solve. So I'll get x equals 0 and x plus 1 equals 0, so x equals -1. Now, I'm not going to necessarily do a formal check for these, but let's consider the possible inputs for this function, looking at the original, or actually even right here is fine. What numbers would break these denominators? What numbers would make those denominators into 0? What do I have to consider? X could not equal. Can equal -3. What would make this denominator 0? 0. So x cannot equal either of those things. So as a result, this solution is extraneous. However, -1 will still work. So we've got one legitimate solution. And if you want, you can do this kind of like analysis of the denominators at the up front of the problem if you wanted to. Let's see, is there one other question I could help you guys with, or how are we doing? Yeah? No? All right. Well, this is Mr. Sniffles signing out.